What's going on this Tuesday evening? Frank, House of Orange TV, day 2 of Tennessee's defensive coordinator search is on. A little bit of news out there. I don't know, a little bit that's out there today, but there are some names that's starting to emerge. It's kind of starting to be the common names you're seeing on different hot boards at the time. Make sure you hit that like, share out that content to anybody that's maybe not found it. And if you have not already and you like the content, hit that share button for notifications when content is posted, or when I get back into the live game field again. If I do that, probably will once SEC play starts with basketball. But we're talking football right now, and that's where we're going with this. Obviously, Tim Banks let go yesterday. The name that's really kind of come to the forefront of this search for really after it happened, because you had numerous people, Brent Hubbs, Chris Lowe, Pete Nakos on 3. Some of them have said, a name to watch was Ryan Walters, and I've seen all 3 of those guys make the comment too if they expect this to go quickly. Well, Walters today, it's put out that he said he's had no contact with Tennessee. When has a coach ever come out, though, and said, oh, yeah, I've been talking to him, I'm negotiating with him right now? Never. It's not happened. If they have, then they were using it for a raise or something. Coach, maybe Ryan Walters hasn't. Who's to say his agent has not had the contact, though? But you got to think there's been some kind of contact there at this point. And from what I've seen, Washington, they play in their bowl game this weekend. So he's done after this weekend for this season. Maybe he coaches that bowl game, and then they get into it. That gives them a few weeks to bring, re-recruit guys to get them to stick around. Now, the names I'm seeing the most right now are Ryan Walters is kind of the most common I'm seeing. I'm seeing Travaris Robinson from Georgia. He's the co-defensive coordinator. He has been a defensive coordinator in the past, though. He was a defensive coordinator at South Carolina. Excellent recruiter, excellent defensive backs coach. I think the results were mixed when he was defensive coordinator at South Carolina. But he's gone on since then. He's been at Alabama. He's been at Georgia. He's not the play caller there, but he's the co-coordinator. Hell of a recruiter. But, this staff did pretty good with that. But it was, there's been some stuff saying Tim Banks was maybe not that involved in recruiting, that it was the assistants doing it. I don't know how much of that's true and what's not on it. But Robinson, on the surface, seems like he'd be a decent hire there as well. He's not my number one. I'll say Walters is my number one. I'll tell you a guy I like that I've seen some people kind of frown at, but it's Clayton White of South Carolina. You look at South Carolina's defenses, man, they've been pretty good over the years. They force a lot of turnovers. They make a lot of things happen. They get to the quarterback. They allowed, I think I saw 353 yards a game this year. Their defense really, I would say, was not a whole lot of the calls. I'm not going to say it was blameless by any means. I mean, anytime you have the record South Carolina does, nobody's blameless in it. But I've seen people that follow that program. They really like him. They said he's a very relatable guy, very likable guy. But just looking at his numbers and knowing what that South Carolina defense has done, I think that could be a really underrated hire. I really do. And it's I would put him right now on my board. I'm not sure if I like him or Robinson more. A part of me likes White more just because, I've seen what he's done. And South Carolina does not have the talent that Tennessee does. They have talent. Don't get me wrong on that. But they don't have the talent that Tennessee does. What could a guy like Clayton White – I mean, this goes for Ryan Walters as well. What's a guy like Ryan Walters going to do with Tennessee talent? I mean, I saw today the Big Ten – was it the coaches all Big Ten team, and Washington only had one guy on the team. That tells you what he can do. What can he do with actual talent? I'm not saying Washington's void of talent. They're not. I mean, they were just in the national championship game, a couple years ago. Doesn't mean all that talent's still around by any means. That program's not void of talent either. It didn't all go with Kalen DeBoer when he went to Alabama. With it, Jed Fish has brought some talent up there as well. But Walters would have a lot more talent to work with. Now, there's some spots you've got to – this next coordinator's got to hit some spots. We're going to focus on that here in just a minute. But Travaris Robinson, no. He's working with talent at Georgia. He's going to know how to use some talent. He's going to recruit well if it were to be him there as well. Clayton White, again, I say he doesn't have the talent. You look at it, though, these South Carolina defenses has produced some players since he's been there. There's no doubt about it. You got to give him credit for that one. Obviously, a name people like Jim Knowles. Was at Ohio State last year, who shut Tennessee down pretty much in bowl game, went to Penn State. He got caught up in all that was going on along the way. I don't think Penn State's defenses was bad, but I do have to look at it as well. UCLA lit them up this year, and UCLA was absolutely abysmal with it. Who's that fall on? All right, we're going to blame that one on James Franklin too. That is what it is. I'm just not – Knowles is not number one on my list. He's not number two, nor is he number three. I don't know. I'm just not he's just not my favorite. He's just not on it. Volquest put out a new hot board today, and it really kind of condensed it down here as well. A lot of names gone from it, but it's condensed down to Ryan Walters, Travaris Robinson, Clayton White. He's been, again – a little bit about him. He was defensive coordinator, cornerbacks coach from Western Kentucky till 2020. Went to South Carolina in 2021. He's been there ever since with it as well. And then, South Carolina just allowed 22.1 points per game this year, 353 yards defense. That's not that bad. I'm not even looking up where it ranks. I might look it up later on. I don't have the ranks on that, but to me, that's not bad. Another name I've seen consistently mentions Corey Batoon at Missouri, a guy number 10 in total defense this past season. Another guy I've seen that's been consistent too is Colin Hitchler. I think's how you pronounce it. He's currently at James Madison. This is his first year in the role with defense. He's the actual play caller. James Madison ranks second in the country in yards per game, 247.6. He was last year the co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach at Alabama, and says he's held the same role at Wisconsin prior to that. So doesn't look like that would be too bad of a hire either. But where do you go? Jim Knowles is still on the list. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm not crapping on Jim Knowles by any means. He would be a really good hire for sure, but he's not the top on my list with it. I like Walters. I think Walters won. I'm almost talked myself into Clayton White, number 2. I think Robinson could potentially be good, but I'm in a category when I get there. Who do I like more out of Robinson, Batoon, Hitchler, or Knowles? I think I could put a 3 A, B, C, D on that one. And I'll look at it as well. But, some of you misunderstood me yesterday when some of you said I said fire Rodney Garner and Coach Chomp. I didn't say that. If they stick around, that's great. That's fine. To me, you bring in a high-level defensive coordinator, you give him the autonomy to bring in who he wants. If he wants to keep those guys, fine. If he wants to bring his own guys, I'm for it. If any of you guys watched a defense this past season that had somebody that was irreplaceable on it, then we watched something totally different. Yeah, I know what recruiting looks like and stuff. I saw the product on the field this year, and the product was absolute crap. It was absolute crap this year. And that includes Garner, Chop, Inge, Martinez, Banks, and any analyst as well. None of it. Maybe it was all Tim Banks. Maybe it was Tim Banks because they were so dysfunctional. They were so unorganized. They were so lost out there. You get a Ryan Walters, Clayton White, one of these guys, to me, that I consider really good defensive coordinators. Let them bring who they want. They're the head coach of that defense. Josh Heupel is going to let them call the plays on it. You let them do what they want. Now, with that said, I would think about anybody's going to want to keep Rodney Garner. Okay? I really do. I would be surprised if any coordinator's going to come in and not want to keep him. But in the sense they're like, I want to clean house, I want to start anew, you let them do that. You got to let them. Because if you handcuff a guy on who he can and can't bring, you're probably going to be hunting for others along the way. I would imagine Josh Heupel and whoever the new hire is will obviously get together on that. They'll talk about it. They'll discuss it, and they'll make the decisions on that as well. I don't personally think it will be a total 100% turnover on the defense, but again, I'm for giving that guy the autonomy, even if that does mean cleaning house with it. It is what it is. There's other good coaches out there who can do those jobs. That's just a fact of the matter. I'm not saying they would be better or anything like that, but that's where we're at. Whoever it is, you're going to have to come in. Linebacker plays got to be better, and there's a lot of talent in that room. Linebacking plays got to be better. You've got to beef up on the interior of the defensive line, whether that's Garner, whether that's Garner, or someone else with it. I got a cat trying to get in the screen here. You've got to beef up. You've got to go to the portal with that as well. Safeties, there's no doubt about it. And some of these connections I like are safeties coaches. Tim Banks was supposedly one as well, and we saw how that was. Tim Banks did not take the position serious at any point, in my opinion, on it. This one, you've got to go to the portal. There's some good safeties hit the portal today, as a matter of fact. You can go look it up. I know Barnes from Clemson, Mitchell from Mississippi State. I'm thinking those are pretty decent players. That's a couple. I'm not saying Tennessee goes after them. There will be more along the way as well. But you've got to fix the middle of that defense. You've got Colton Hood. You got Ty Redmond. Both of them were coaches third team all SEC today. I think that's pretty impressive, especially with Ty Redmond, the way he started, the way he finished, and he was third team all SEC. But you shore up that middle, because I feel like Tennessee's good on the edges. Got to get to the quarterback more. Good things can happen there. And then I'm still adamant about this. You've got to fix your strength and conditioning program. This has got to become a more disciplined, more physical football team next year. There's no doubt about that. Hit and practice. Do whatever. The strength and conditioning guy needs to be the leader when I think coaches can be around more now than they used to could be. But this guy's got to be the one to hold them accountable. This guy's got to be the one that puts SEC level strength and conditioning and speed on the field. Obviously, I know you can't teach speed a lot of times. You can get them up to par on strength. There's ways now guys can get faster. They get faster in strength and conditioning programs as well. You've got to fix those along the way. Of course, there's other expiring contracts as well on the offensive side of the ball. That's something to address later on. I would be surprised if anybody is not retained on the offensive side. You had a top 10 offense this year. I don't mess with that. That's just me. You're going to have enough on the defensive side here as we go forward. But I'll keep you updated on anything else. That seems to be the names. Again, that's condensed down from yesterday. It seems like it's down to 5 to 6 names. Now, could somebody come out of left field and totally be a surprise on this? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that it could be. But I think it's lean. I still think there's a good possibility it's Ryan Walters. The fact that Pete Nakos come right out yesterday and said this is a name to keep an eye on. Pete Nakos, for this breaking news stuff and having these connections, saying these things, he's really about as good as it gets right now. He's broke a lot of stuff. He's been spot on a lot of stuff. So I would trust that going forward. But how quick will this be done? I don't know that it'll be done this week. It wouldn't surprise me either based on everything. But I think worst case, if it's Walters, you may see it first of next week that it happens. Keep you updated anything we hear, any rumblings, anything going on there as well. This is Frank, House of Orange, and I'll see you when I see you.